Let me hit you with a wild stat. Every single minute, 9,000 people are applying to jobs on LinkedIn. 9,000. But the brutal truth is that most of these profiles are completely invisible. Recruiters spend only 6 seconds looking at your profile. That's literally shorter than the amount of time it takes to make a cup of coffee, which means most people get 0 attention, 0 views, and 0 jobs. So in the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you data-driven insights that are gonna help turn those 6 seconds into your next job offer. Now, this first tip I'm going to show you is actually really important if you're trying to change jobs without your current employer knowing. I think there's nothing more embarrassing than doing all these changes to your LinkedIn profile, and then someone at your workplace, maybe your boss or your colleague, sees that you've made these changes and starts to wonder if you're changing jobs. So let's fix that. So what we're going to do is actually just go up to our profile in the top right here, where it says me, and then click into it. Then we're going to go to settings and privacy. And once that loads up, we're going to go to visibility here. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is actually profile viewing options. So when you click into here, what you're going to see is your name and headline, private profile characteristics, and private mode. What this is basically saying is when you click on someone else's profile, this is what they're going to see. So you can see if you have your name and headline, they're going to see everything about you. They're going to see for private profile, they're going to see where you work. And then private mode is anonymous LinkedIn member. Now, if you're doing a lot of job seeking, or if you want to look at people's profiles without being known, I'd recommend turning on private mode here. So this other thing I'm going to show you is actually this shared job changes, education changes, and work anniversaries from your profile. So click into here and actually turn this off. So that means that now when you make changes to your profile, it's not going to show to your entire network. So now once we've done that, we can start moving on to the actual tips. The first thing I'm going to cover here is having a LinkedIn profile photo that's going to stand out. LinkedIn profiles with profile photos get up to 21 times more views and 9 times more connection requests. So it does show that having a good profile photo is really important. So I'm going to show you how to create one for free. What we're going to do is go to a website called remove.background. Now I'm going to assume that you already have a photo taken, but if you don't, I'll leave some links in the description on how to take a good profile photo, even if you have a low quality camera. What we're going to do once we head to this website is just go upload image, and I'm going to choose a photo that I have in here. Awesome. And it's going to remove the background from my photo. Cool. So you can see it removed the background there. Now what I'm going to do is go download. And what I would suggest, if you haven't had a remove background account before, you can click this max quality button, and you can create a account for free and you get 1 free credit. So I would just use it on getting the full resolution one. But just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to create a preview account, as I already do have a remove background account and I don't want to pay. So now once that's done, you can see it's all downloaded. Now what we're going to do is go to canva.com. Also, Canva is another free tool, highly recommend. What you can do in here is actually go to the template section of canva.com. And what we're going to type in is LinkedIn profile photo. Cool. And we're going to click the 800 by 800 pixel one here. Now, there is a ton of templates that you can choose from that are going to have really nice profile photos and layouts that you can use right away. But we're just going to create a blank one for the sake of this video. So once it's all loaded up, what I'm going to do is just go to uploads, and I'm going to upload that photo that I took before with the background removed, which is this one here. Cool. And once it's uploaded, I'm just going to click upload here and drag it in. Nice. So what I'm going to do now is actually go to elements here and just type in gradient. Now there's a ton of free gradients that you can get, or there's paid ones if you have Canva Pro. I'm going to just choose one of the free ones here. I like this, and I'm going to resize this to fill up the entire space. Nice. So now right now it's covering my image. What I'm going to do is right click on it and then hit layer, send to back. Nice. So my photo is now in the middle here. I'm just going to resize my photo so it takes up maybe 70%. I want it a bit bigger. Nice. And I don't really like how it's looking right now, so I'm actually going to go to edit, and I'm going to add a drop shadow to it. Now this is just going to add a bit of depth to my photo. I'm going to resize it again. Honestly, that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now is just go up to file, download, and then I'm going to download this image. When I'm back on LinkedIn here, I'm just going to click the profile photo that I have. Maybe you don't have one. And I'm gonna go add photo. Now I'm gonna upload the photo that I just took and downloaded from LinkedIn, which is this one here. And you can recenter it, you can straighten it, you can zoom it in if you want more zoom, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just gonna save the photo. So now you can see my profile picture actually looks pretty good. I actually might leave it as that one. I like it better, I think. So now cover photo is this one here. Matters too, but not as much as profile photos. But you can get a ton of free cover photos on Canva as well. I'd recommend checking those out and updating this section as well. Now that we've made your profile photo pop, let's talk about something that I think a lot of people don't understand on LinkedIn. Now think of LinkedIn as actually like a search engine. That's how recruiters use it. So you want to be making sure that the keywords that recruiters are searching up for are appearing throughout your profile. So for example, let's go into jobs here. So I'm just going to search up a job that I'm interested in. And now I'm just going to use a few examples. I'll just go to the skills section and I'm going to copy all of this in here. Everything that the job requires. I'm then going to create a new tab and just a new Google Doc. And I'm going to paste in a few of these job requirements in here. So I'll just do a couple so you get the idea. All right, cool. So now what I'm going to do is actually use ChatGPT to help me find the key skills that are across all of these jobs. So I'm going to go back to my doc. I'm going to copy it all. I'm going to go into ChatGPT and I'm going to say, can you please help me identify the top 5 skills that are mentioned the most in these job descriptions? Give me a count of how many times each of these skills were listed as well. Cool. So now that it's done, I'm going to paste it in here and it's going to analyze all of these job descriptions here and give me exactly what I want to see. All right, so you can see the output here came out with AWS mentioned 8 times, CI/CD, Azure, security, and Kubernetes. Now I know that these are some of the top things I need to include on my profile, and we'll get to that in the next few tips. Now this brings me into tip number 3, which is optimizing your LinkedIn headline. Now it's crazy to me that only 20% of people on LinkedIn do this, yet 46% of recruiters say it's the most important thing they look for. So I'm gonna show you a quick template that literally worked for me to land a job. So here's the template on screen, and then here's an example. So we know that in the last step, we looked at different keywords that pop up, and we know that AWS and CI/CD were the most common. So we're gonna use this in our headline as well. So what I'm gonna do is actually go to my headline here, and you can see mine is not optimized in that way at all because I'm not looking for a job. So what I'm gonna do is edit my profile, and then once it loads, I'm gonna scroll down to headline here. So let's say we're looking for an AWS DevOps role. So we know that those are keywords that we wanna include. We're a DevOps engineer. Now let's say you've never landed a job in AWS DevOps, but you've done projects. If you don't have job experience, the best thing you can be doing is building projects. And now that you know that CI/CD is something that recruiters are looking for when you search up DevOps roles, you want to be doing a project on CI/CD. So once you've done a project on building a CI/CD pipeline, you can go implemented CI/CD pipeline. And then ideally you want to have some sort of result that it drove, reducing downtime by 40%. It depends what you did in your project. And then you're just going to hit save. Now this is going to come up a lot more now when recruiters search for your profile because you have AWS, you have DevOps engineer, you have CI/CD pipeline, and you have the result that you drove. Okay, and by the way, if you're in tech and you want projects, stay to the end because I'm going to show you a website where you can get a ton of projects for free. Cool, so now that your headline's got the attention, let's talk about one of the most overlooked sections on a LinkedIn profile, and that is your about section. Now your about section is really important, and in fact, 84% of recruiters read the first line of your about section, but only 32% read the entire thing. So that means that the content in there usually is pretty boring, so let's try and make that stand out a bit. Now there is a ton of videos that I've seen about this topic, so I'm not gonna go into it into detail, but I'll put a template on screen that can be effective, but I'll go over a couple things that are gonna make your about section stand out. Now for me, I'm not trying to get a job here, I've just tried to make my about section stand out as much as I can. So my first line is really controversial. Education currently sucks. And then I go into an example and then I go into what I'm trying to do. Now, every about section is not gonna be like this, but I think that the first tip I can give you is make that first line stand out as much as you can. Now, the second thing in here is make sure you're writing in first person. Honestly, when I see about sections that are written in third person, it's like a very old school way of doing about sections or referrals. It's really weird. I mean, who talks about themselves in a third person? It's just pretty strange. So when you're writing this about section, make sure it's in a first person. You're writing this, it's a chance to show your personality, your skills, your accomplishments in a way that makes sense to you. Now you can definitely use ChatGPT, you can definitely use the template I've given, but make sure if you are using AI, you've actually read it and rewritten it in your own words because people can tell when it's AI written and it's just not fun. All right, let's talk about tip number 5, which is using LinkedIn frames. Now this one here can be used really well and it can also be used really badly. So I wanna make sure that you don't make these mistakes. Now I personally have not used a LinkedIn frame before, but I have seen research that says that people who have an open to work frame get 40% more in-mails, so messages from recruiters, compared to people who don't have them. So it is a useful tool, but I'm gonna show you how to apply it properly. Now, the first mistake I see a lot of people do is they click on their profile photo, they go to frames, and then they just click open to work and hit apply. Now, the problem with this is that this frame is visible to all LinkedIn members. Look, I know that when you're searching for a job, it can be quite an emotional thing, and sometimes you don't want your entire network to see that you're looking for a job. So what I'm going to show you is different ways that you can do that so not everyone has to see. So what we're going to do is click out of here and we're going to go discard. Now, when you go to your LinkedIn profile, you see this open to button here. You're going to click that and you're going to say finding a new job. Now, once you're in here, you can actually decide what job title you want, where you want to work, on-site or hybrid, what country, when you want to start. And this is going to give context to recruiters who use LinkedIn Navigator to search for different people. This is a cool feature. And what this means is you can add in a frame. So it's like the open to work frame, but only for recruiters. So only recruiters can see that you're open to work and all of your network doesn't have to see that. And then you can just hit save. Now, I personally feel more comfortable doing that than having open to work on my profile in front of everyone, but it's up to personal preference, obviously. So now moving on to tip 6, I'm going to show you how to personalize your LinkedIn URL, which is going to polish up your LinkedIn profile a lot more, and you can add it to your resume. Now, what you're going to do is go to your homepage here and then go to public profile and URL and just hit edit. So what you're going to do is just go edit custom URL. Now, typically, if you haven't done this before, your LinkedIn URL may look something like this, which is just not professional and it's just not something that you want to add to your resume. So what we're going to do is actually just clean it up a bit, and I'm just going to make it my first and last name and then hit save. So now I'll just show you what this looks like. So if I go to my profile here on LinkedIn and I just copy the URL, you can see that my LinkedIn URL now is linkedin.com/my name, which is a lot cleaner than having a lot of random numbers on there. It's a simple tip, but often gets overlooked, and these type of details play a big part in the long run. So I've seen a lot of people make mistakes where they just write out full paragraphs or full sentences on the things that they've done, but here's a simple but easy framework that you can follow to make your experience stand out and get noticed by recruiters. So a simple thing to remember is for each job that you've done, try and have at least 4 to 5 bullet points on things that you've done within that role. And the way that we're going to structure these bullet points is the action we've done, the result, and a time frame. So you can see here, so I scaled an Instagram channel, that's the action, to 50,000 followers, so that's the result, in 5 months, so that's the time frame. Now this one here, you can see spearheaded acquisition strategy, that's what I did. Achieving 40,000 signups, that's my result, with 0 marketing budget. That's actually not completely right, so we're gonna edit this, and we're gonna add in a time frame here. So achieving 40,000 signups in 5 months, with 0 marketing budget. What this does, it adds some context to what I've been doing to the recruiters so they can see what I've been doing in what time frame and what result that's gathered. Now this is just gonna help make all of your experience look a lot better because it's gonna be attaching your work with a direct result. Now with tip number 8, we're gonna talk about projects and then posting your work. Now earlier on in the video, we talked about how you can build your experience by doing projects. Now I would recommend this website here, learn.nextwork.org. This is obviously our website, which I am biased, but it's really good. Now here you can get a ton of different projects. So whatever you're interested in, DevOps, AI, machine learning, compute, databases, security, there is a lot of different topics here that you can select. And I'm just gonna do this project here, deploy an app with Docker. Now you'll get a step-by-step guide here. And then at the end of the project, once you're done filling in all of these boxes and questions, you're gonna get this documentation that you can share to LinkedIn. Now I'm just gonna download the documentation and I'm gonna show you what it looks like on LinkedIn. Cool, so here's an example of documentation that was automatically generated by one of our students. And as you can see, it looks beautiful. It documents his work. And what it does is it allows other people from his network to comment on it. And each time someone comments, it means that their network may also see this post. So this suddenly means that now more people are gonna have eyes on your work and you're more likely to get noticed by recruiters. So for me, doing projects, but then documenting your work on websites like I just showed you, because now you can start to build up a bit of a brand on LinkedIn and show recruiters your work from all across the world. Look, I know it can be scary when you first start posting on LinkedIn, but it's gonna open up a lot of doors that you didn't even know were possible. I'm gonna give you a bonus tip as well, because it's one of my pet peeves that I see all the time on LinkedIn, is people just clicking one of these AI generated LinkedIn comments and that's all they write. Something like very useful tips, very informative, is not adding any value to that person. And I honestly think it's not a good look for the person commenting. So what I'd suggest is be authentic, be yourself, and write comments that you actually believe in. So you can see for this post here, I wrote, "Damn, documentation looking nice," with an emoji. That's how I would talk, so that's the way I write. Or if you want a framework for it, something like, "This was an awesome post. I like how you did X, but interested to know what you think about Y." That could be a potential framework that you use for comments, but I honestly think that you don't really need to framework this kind of stuff. You can just be authentic and type it out yourself, and it's gonna make a big difference. Now, we've all been in this loop where we just watch YouTube video after YouTube video trying to improve our LinkedIn, but the number one feedback I would give you is just start making those changes today. If you can action even 1 or 2 of the things from this video today, your LinkedIn profile is going to be miles better than what it is now. And if there's anything that I missed out in this video, leave it in the comments below and I'll make an even more comprehensive guide on particular parts that you guys want me to cover. And please hit that subscribe button if you've learned something new. It helps the channel a lot. Peace out.